This game is tied. Just as the power play was set to expire, Draisaitl pours it into the back of the net for his 34th goal of the year.
joined by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. If you have a question, please use the raise hand function. If you have a follow-up, please ask it following your first. Hands media. First question, Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Hey, Ryan, I just wanted to ask about the focus on the defensive side of the game and how, obviously your coach is going to get on you when you're making mistakes and stuff, but how as a group and as a team of guys, how you kind of hold yourselves and each other accountable for that to really work long term.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part is keeping ourselves accountable. We know that we did it the way we wanted to do it a lot last night, but we just had breakdowns, and there were shifts we went out there, and we kind of went away from our game, away from our systems. We want to be a stingy team defensively, and last night we definitely weren't enough. So it's, like you said, it's definitely about keeping each other accountable, knowing that we're going to be a hard team to play against. I mean, obviously we're a fast team. When we play with our speed, that's the best defense for sure, is getting in on guys, getting a good forecheck, getting a good neutral zone forecheck, and just being hard to play against overall.
Was your game day any different today than it would have been last year, just based on any COVID protocols, having to keep meetings smaller? Like, is there an impact on today as a result of all of this?
Not too much. It's like meetings are a little bit separate now. Other than that, there's not too much difference. So I mean, there's no excuses. I mean, it's the first game of the year, of course, but we've been working on things for a while now. We know the way that we need to play. So the COVID restrictions haven't really affected it too much.
Next question, Jason Gregor, TSN 1260.
Ryan, obviously with no preseason, you didn't get to go up against any penalty killer. What did you make of the power play last night? You guys had 4 opportunities. You had a few good chances, not a ton of shots. I think only 3 total. Was it just a lack of, cohesiveness from not getting to play in the preseason? Did you feel that you maybe were just a little out of sync?
Well, I think overall, we were snapping it around pretty good. I think maybe after the first one, we got better. We tried to put pucks on net. I mean, they keep their penalty kill tight in the middle, so it's going to be tough to get those shots through, but we got to find a way to do that. I think a lot of the time we're best when we get those shots through, and even if they don't hit the net, we're creating chances off the rebounds, and we're picking pucks off and kind of playing off a little bit of chaos. So we can do that a little bit more tonight. Just put a little bit more to the net, create that chaos, and see what happens. But I mean, obviously, first game we would have liked to have gotten one for sure. But I thought as the game went on and the chances, the power plays came, we started to get better and started to feel each other out more.
Next question, Jack Michaels, 630 Ched.
I just have one question. Ryan, and this may sound a little absurd, but just looking at the structure of the schedule and the head-to-head nature of it for all the 6 other teams you're playing, does this feel like strangely somehow more of a big game than it would be had you lost to, say, Carolina and you were playing Florida the next day?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. Every game is you're not just getting yourself 2 points, you're taking away 2 points from your divisional team. So we're going to play in these little mini-series all year. We have to take pride in them. Obviously, we let that one go last night, but, I mean, we have to play with desperation tonight and make it a must-win. So I think you're right. It does these back-to-backs. I mean, these little series, that they will mean more than just playing a Western team to an Eastern team, something like that. So we got to prepare tonight, and we got to clean some things up and get this thing rolling now.
Next question, Marty Klinkenberg, Globe and Mail.
Hi, Ryan. I'm wondering that, kind of going into opening night, I'm not sure that anybody really had an idea what to expect. Maybe a little more so than usual because of training camp and, short training camp and everything. So how did it kind of roll out for you last night? What did you think?
I mean, it's obviously different with no fans. It's not a typical season opener, but I thought as the game went on, it just started to feel like a normal game, and we got to experience it in the bubble with no fans too. So in Edmonton too, so it was a similar experience. But I mean, we just got to get back to playing, and I think now that the first one's under our belt here, we can just get back to playing our game, and it's gonna be a little different out there, but we can't let that affect us.
Thank you very much.
Next question, Rob Tichkowski, Post Media.
Hey, Ryan, just looking at the schedule, you guys are playing 56 games in 115 days. That's basically every second night for 115 days, and even more condensed than that because there's a couple of 5-day breaks in there. Do you guys now going to have to monitor your minutes and be more conscious of how much time you spend on the ice if you're sitting 4 games in 5 days kind of a situation?
Well, I mean, short shifts and quick shifts, that's always an important part of a team. This year probably a little bit more than usual is because we're going to play, I think we have 12 back-to-backs in that 56 game span. So I mean, your body's going to feel a little bit more this year. So you can get the shifts rolling, get everybody involved, get 4 lines going, 6D going right away. That's something that's going to be important. Everybody's going to be definitely key this year.
And not going to see a lot of practice time in the way the schedule works. So is the crux of your learning going to have to be sort of in meeting rooms and that?
I guess we'll see how it goes, but we'll get some. I'm sure early in the year we'll get some time to practice. Morning skates and stuff like that, but I think a lot of it will be breaking down on film, and I mean it's just going to be we're playing like you said every second day, almost a lot of back-to-backs, so it's going to come quick. So the quicker we can get back to it and kind of not forget about the last game, but learn from the last game is going to be very important this year.
Last question, Jim Matheson, Post Media.
A couple of things, Ryan. Is that one of those games that Connor McDavid last night played really well but didn't get a point? I mean, every time you saw him, he had the puck going to the net. It's strange for him.
I mean, it happens. I mean, even the best players in the world go without a point some games. I mean, he still was skating well. We know what Connor's capable of, and I thought our line as the game went on, we started to create more and get some good looks at the net. I think maybe we can play a little bit more on net tonight and see how that works for us.
And did they defensively do anything in the middle of the ice that you hadn't seen before in the neutral zone?
No, I mean, we know what to expect playing this team. I mean, they're not going to give up a whole lot coming through the neutral zone. I mean, Connor with his speed obviously can beat a lot of guys. But, I mean, we know what to expect from this team. So, I mean, it really comes down to the way that we play, and we got to clean some things up tonight and be better.
That concludes Ryan Nugent-Hopkins Media. Raise hand function. If you have a follow-up question, please ask it following your first. Any hands, media? Reed Wilkins, 630 Ched.
Kyle, you always hear that players and teams don't like to sit on tough performances and on losses. With the condensed schedule, how, I mean, I know it's not encouraging to lose, but how encouraging is it to know that you can perhaps correct some things almost immediately after they happened?
Yeah, it's nice to have the opportunity to get back out the next day and play against that team. yeah, like you said, you always have a bitter taste in your mouth when you lose, and having the opportunity to get back at them the next day, it gives you an opportunity to right things.
When you look at last night's game, some opportunities maybe missed at the offensive end, maybe some self-inflicted wounds in your own end. Which do you want to focus on more tonight?
We want to fix everything, ideally, but yeah, we got to create more in their end, put pucks at net, get bodies to the net, create a bit of chaos, and then defensively we just got to be we just got to be smarter and make good decisions and just kind of play our game the way we have throughout camp.
Next question, Marty Klinkenberg, Globe and Mail.
Yeah, hi Kyle. You played in the NHL a long time, and I'm just wondering, going into last night's opener, how different did it feel than another year because of the shorter training camp and and no exhibition games? Was it kind of hard to expect what it was going to be like?
It was different. It was definitely different. I think combination of everything, like you said, the no fans. I don't think the shorter camp played that big of a role in it. Guys are in such good shape now, and on the ice so much during the off season, anyways, that I don't think the shortened camp made that big of a difference. But I think just playing in a game situation from a regular season hockey game. We've only played, a handful of games over the past 10 months. So getting back into a game situation was definitely different and kind of allowed to get the rust off and move forward now.
Thank you very much.
Next question, Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Kyle, how did you think it went with yourself and Jesse and Josh last night as a line? How do you think it went?
I think Jesse played well. I do. I think he's looking to make plays. He had a good opportunity. Made a nice pass to me in the third period there for an opportunity, and I think it's something that it was good to get the first game out of the way, and I think we just got to build some chemistry and kind of get a better feel and a better read off of each other, so that we can sustain offensive pressure and create more. Because I think that's what we were lacking last night, and just sustained offense and consistent opportunities. So that's something that we'll generate moving forward. And like I said, good to get that first game out of the way, and we'll be more comfortable moving forward.
Thank you.
Next question, Jack Michaels, 630 Ched.
Kyle, I wanted to kind of follow up on the line a little bit, just from the standpoint that I don't remember a ton of lines in the NHL with 3 right-handed shots. I'm curious, is this a relatively new experience for you? And kind of just some of the pros and cons as you see it.
Pros and cons, it's kind of like any line, having a lefty or a righty, I feel like it takes away some options and it adds some options. So, from a face-off standpoint, you run different options than you would with a lefty. But, at the end of the day, you still have the plays, so you can still run them. I too find it interesting because I didn't realize until a few years ago how left-hand dominant the NHL is. It's majority of guys in the league are left, and having right-handed guys is more of a rarity. So it's interesting to have 3 on the same line.
Because all you Canadians are lefties, it seems. But in any event, I wanted to ask you also about maybe the differences, and I apologize if this has been asked before in some of your other pressers, just anything you've picked up on from Dave Tippett that's different than when you last played for him 9 years ago that you can point to right away that you've noticed?
No, he's still the same Tip I remember. He's very passionate, very excited about the game and the opportunity every night, and that comes through in how he talks to you and how he addresses the team. And he was plenty experienced when I had him in Phoenix, and had a lot of success at that point, and just to reunite with him again and see that passion he has and that excitement, and I'm really looking forward to working with him again.
Next question, Rob Chichkowski, Post Media.
Kyle, I was listening to the radio yesterday, and somebody was already calling tonight's game a must-win, which you got to admit is kind of funny. But and just from your guys' standpoint, do you kind of recognize or are conscious of the way the schedule is now, where every night 3 or 4 teams in your division are going to get points no matter what? Does that kind of add to the urgency, or is that something you're even conscious of this early in the season?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that we've talked about. It's the way the division's set up, and playing back-to-back nights, you have to be able to get points after losing the first game, because if you don't, you're just going to be catching up, and it's going to be tough to do. So it's real important.
If there are no more questions, that concludes Kyle Turris's media availability. Please stay. Questions, please use the raise hand function. If you have a follow-up, please ask it following your first. First question, Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Dave, after a night like that where you make the goals that Vancouver scored were directly responsible, for your mistakes, and they're fairly glaring, is it easy to coach the team that today talked to them and says, okay, here's how it was, or do you have to show them those videos to reinforce things?
It was both today. You have to recognize what you're doing, recognize situations, recognize when you can get better, so you can talk about it and you can look at it, and so we did both today.
And any lineup changes tonight?
We got a couple of bumps and bruises we're monitoring here this afternoon, so possibly one.
Next question, Jack Michaels, 630 Chud.
Dave, I do just have one question, and that's the nature of these second of a back-to-backs. Your club was very good in those scenarios a year ago, and I'm just wondering, in your experience, what's the key to having success in the second of a back-to-back as it relates to that specific situation?
Well, I think you got to make sure that your mind's in the right place coming in, and it's one of those things where you need everybody in your lineup to contribute. Everybody's got to do their job. You probably simplify a game a little bit, but in the situation we're in now, every team, the team, when you're playing the same team back to back, there's no advantage or disadvantage. So we've got some work to do on our game, and we talked about that this morning. Hopefully we can bring that to this afternoon, like you say, or tonight. I like how we responded on back-to-back games last year, but it's a new season. We have to respond well this year.
Next question, Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Dave, just wanted to ask about kind of that accountability defensively as a group. You pointed out a few mistakes that were made last night. When a group is functioning well and holding itself accountable, what's kind of the balance between a coach having to do that, but also the group and the players among themselves kind of having that accountability there?
Well, I think you have to have both. Most of the time when a player makes a mistake or does something he's not supposed to, they recognize it before anybody else, but it's a positive thing when other teammates try to help them out and steer them in the right direction, and that's what coaching's all about. So you're trying to steer people in the right direction, so when they make mistakes, you hope they don't happen. They learn from their mistakes and they move on. They're better players for it.
And in whatever meetings and such that you had today, kind of what was your sense of the attentiveness on the group, and do you expect things to tighten up tonight?
Well, you hope so. We made some mistakes last night that hurt us, and you'd like to learn from those mistakes and not have as many of them tonight. There's always mistakes in a game, but there's critical ones that come into play, and we made too many critical ones.
Next question, Rob Tychkowski, Post Media.
Hey, Coach, just looking at the schedule, I'm wondering what kind of an impact that's going to have on your ability to just have a lot of hard practices. I mean, are you going to be a lot fewer of those? Are going to be harder to teach through that?
It's you're not going to have the ability to practice much at all. So a lot of your coaching, a lot of the stuff you're trying to get across is going to be through meetings and some video, and even that you're into small group meetings rather than big group meetings because of the protocol. So you got to get at it the best you can, but you got to make sure your players have energy because of the schedule, and there'll be a lot of behind-the-scenes work on video and making sure people are held accountable and make sure people are understanding exactly how we want to play.
Yeah, speaking of that energy, I saw Connor played almost 26 minutes yesterday. Is that going to be something that this year is going to be a bigger issue, just managing the minutes before the top guy?
He had 7 minutes of power play, which is usually he doesn't get that much in a game, but he was a couple minutes more over what I'd like to see him, or what he was at last year on even strength play. So some of that's dictated by the game. We were chasing the game, so we're using him more.
Next question, Derek Van Diest, Post Media.
Hey Dave, I was just want to ask you about, were you happy with the way Mikko played last night, and kind of what are you looking for Smitty here? Do you still need that big save out of your guys when you have some defensive breakdowns in your zone?
Yeah, you're looking for a big save all the time. He made some good saves for us, but like I said last night, when you give up 5, everybody's got to be a little bit accountable of that. So we made some mistakes in front of him, but you'd like to get 1 or 2 more saves. But that being said, the chances they were getting that they scored on were pretty good chances. So, it's when you give up 5, the whole team's accountable.
And as far as your power play goes, you guys threw the puck around in the zone pretty well. How did you like Tyson in the back there, kind of running things?
First look was all right. I think there's going to be, there'll be some continued adjustment going forward here. We had some good looks. We had a couple opportunities, but you'd like to see it capitalize on them. So it's a work in progress, but I think Tyson will be he gives us that right shot and a shoot first mentality a little more from up top. So I'm interested to see where it goes.
Next question, Jason Gregor, TSN 1260.
Dave, we just heard Kyle Turris admit that it feels a little bit different because, you're 2 games in, you're playing the same division team, you're all going to play each other. There's 3-point game last night in Toronto and Montreal, and that maybe the angst is a little bit higher because you're not playing there's no games outside your conference. Do you feel that as a coach? Do you have to temper that, or do you want to tap into that emotion?
Now you have to recognize where we are, and you can talk about all the other scenarios you want, but you have to live with the scenarios in front of you, so you better embrace it. And that's where we've been. We know it's a unique situation, and playing teams a lot of times, but you have to embrace that. I mean, that's part of the if you want to be successful, you better embrace it and live with whatever comes along, whether there's going to be bumps in the road here, whether it's, COVID or injuries or whatever it may be, travel and fatigue. You got to embrace that and use it as a rallying point to make sure your team's ready to play however they have to play to win that certain game. So, everybody's in the same boat, so we might as well embrace it.
Now, I just want to clarify, this might be dumb, but when you say there might be one lineup change, is that on top of the goalie, like you are going to play Mike Smith tonight?
No, yeah, one more on top of the goaltenders.
Okay, thanks.
Last question, Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Couple of things, Dave. One of those players who looked like he took a few bumps and bruises last night was Yamamoto, sticking his nose in against much bigger people like Edler. Is that just the way he plays the game? The other question I have for you is the back-to-backs. This is different, is it not? Often you play back-to-backs in a row, but you play one team one night and it fly and play another team another night, so it's a different team. Does the back-to-back against the same team make it easier or harder?
Well, just there's no advantage or disadvantage for either team. They're both teams played at the same time the night before and didn't travel, so that part of it should be all even. Especially when you're playing we're playing in our home building, but it's with no fans. It's a generic game, so the back-to-back shouldn't affect one team more than the other. As far as Yamamoto, he played an excellent game last night. He was on the puck. He played just how we want him to play, and he's fine to go again today.
Thank you, media. This brings us to the conclusion of Dave Tippett's media availability. Please stay tuned for Caleb Jones. Again, if you have any questions, please use the raise hand function. If you have a follow-up question, please ask it following your first. Hands, media. First question, Tony Brar, Oilers TV.
Hey Caleb, it's obvious that the team wasn't happy with their efforts last night. How do you, as a player, balance putting that one away and not thinking about it as opposed to learning from it and taking those learnings into the game? How does that work for a player?
Yeah, it's going to be this way all year. We have a lot of back-to-backs, a lot of 3 and 4s. So, there's definitely some learning lessons we need to take from last night, and we all know that we can play better. And we're definitely going to come out and give a much better effort. But all year there's going to be a lot of back-to-backs, like I said. So. It's going to have to be a short memory and come right back out, and we're going to play with confidence, and, I think we'll get the job done tonight.
You guys had a lot of success in second half of back-to-backs last year. What made you guys successful in that regard?
I think we just, last year we got in a groove, and, we had 2 goalies we could really count on, and I think, we kind of dialed it in. I think on our back-to-backs we we were just, like I said, we were playing well, and I don't really know. I think it was kind of just one of those years, like I said, before the shutdown happened, we just kind of found our groove that second half, and we're going to hopefully continue that success on back-to-backs this year.
Next question, Jim Matheson, Post Media.
A couple of things, Caleb. Does a back-to-back, in past years you would play back-to-back often on the road. You'd play Florida one night, Tampa the next, so it's different teams, and then you'd have to fly. Does a back-to-back when you play the same team again the next night, do you learn something does one team have an advantage, or do you figure, okay, we played and lost against that team, we should know how to play better against that team? So we're not playing a different team on the back-to-back.
Yeah, you can make. It'll be weird this year. You'll have to probably watch, but they'll definitely be. I think all around the league, there'll be adjustments made. It'll kind of be a little bit of a chess game. With special teams and things like that. But I think being able to stay in your same city and play back to back would probably be a little nicer than being on the road or having to travel. But yeah, I definitely agree with you that there'll be adjustments made, and you know how a team's going to come out and play, and it'll definitely help you out in trying to beat them the next night.
How did you think yourself and Adam played last night?
I think we got better. We can definitely play better, and I think we will tonight. It was their first game too, so I would never use that as an excuse that that was the first game of the year. But I felt like we were moving the puck all right. Definitely some defensive mistakes that we made that we're going to have to fix, but I think tonight we're going to show much better, and I think throughout this season we'll continue to get better and hopefully form a good bond as a pair.
Thank you.
Any more questions, media? If there are no more questions, that brings us to the conclusion of Edmonton Oilers media availability. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you, media.
Is tied just as the power play was set to expire. Draisaitl throws it in.